Hello and welcome to CDO Magazine interview series. I'm Baz Kuti, President of MODAC. We are partnering with CDO Magazine, MIT CDIQ, and the International Society of Chief Data Officers in a series of interviews. Today I have the great pleasure of talking to Katia Walsh, the Chief Global Strategy and AI Officer at Levi Strauss. Welcome, Katia.
Nice to be here. Thank you, Baz.
Thank you. I see you be presenting at this CDAO exchange in January and talking about the craft of data and digital strategy on a global basis. What's the impact of digital data and AI on building a new global organization and capabilities?
Well, you cannot have a modern business without it including digital data and artificial intelligence capabilities. Every business today, every organization, every government is using digital capabilities which give us data, and the more data we have, the more we can use and rely on artificial intelligence, which in turn makes our digital solutions and products even smarter. And this has only accelerated in the past 18 months of the world living with COVID, because even those who used to be holdouts are now comfortable with virtual environments, including this conference, for example, or this conversation that we're recording now. The conference will be in person, and I'm looking forward to that. But the world living virtually for the last 18 months has actually created even more data, because everything we do digitally translates into digital crumbs, which is even more data, which then gives us even more raw information that we can use for artificial intelligence solutions. So you cannot have a modern organization, including a global business, without applying digital solutions, data and AI capabilities.
Okay, that's great to hear. And so what are the critical elements in that, in sort of bringing together digital data and AI in kind of an intelligent organization on a global basis?
Well, you cannot have intelligence without all these capabilities, just like cannot have a modern business without them. That's why intelligence is actually part of these capabilities. But like any other capability, this is really in service of the strategy, of the vision, and the priorities of an organization. So the most important aspect of creating global capabilities that are harnessing digital data and AI competencies is to make sure that they serve the vision and priorities of an organization. Always ask yourself the question, why? Why is it that we're doing well in something today and not doing well in something else? And what is it that we can do where these competencies can help us? At the end of the day, they're just a tool in helping us meet our purpose as an organization, in helping us achieve our strategic goals, in helping us serve the consumers and customers without whom we could not be in business. And in terms of how we create these capabilities in a company, it always starts with the people. You cannot have artificial intelligence without human beings. It is human beings that are creating AI today and will continue to do so for many years to come. We are years and years away from the time when AI creates AI. So human beings are still the most important aspect of leadership in digital data and AI capabilities. And of course, we need processes. We need to make sure that we incorporate the best privacy and security practices, even beyond what regulation requires of organizations, because data, which is the third big building block of this, is both something that is very useful, but it's something that we must protect, hence the need for privacy and security. And then the fourth building block is, of course, technology.
Okay, that's great to hear. I mean, obviously the people side of it is the most critical aspect in sort of bringing people together.
Yes.
So, just following on from that, so what do you see the most challenging and enjoyable aspects of being a global leader around digital data and AI?
Well, it's interesting that we have the CDAO exchange and the CDAO magazine. I was actually one of the very first chief data and analytics officers in the world many years ago, before this became a mainstream kind of role and something that businesses cannot live without. So it's always been very exciting. It's exhausting to start something like that from scratch, whether it's in a startup organization or in an established company, but it's also exhilarating. And you're right, there are many enjoyable aspects of doing this. One of those is to really create these new capabilities, to bring these amazing people together, some of whom may have to come from outside in a company, some of whom may have been in a company all along, but they may not have had the latest skills or may not have been in the best roles. And the discovery of this talent has always been very enjoyable for me, to be able to find people across a company, across various functions, across the world in a global organization, bring them together and together to show a company how it can become customer-centric, how it can really change the way in which it operates, and how it can position itself to succeed and compete for the future with very concrete value, delivering immediate benefits either in revenues, the cost savings, or both for the next year, as well as transforming itself completely for many years to come.
Well, that's great to hear. And, enabling the smart talent within the organization, whether upskilling them or bringing in new talent, is obviously a great opportunity to bring together there. So if you then say, look, how do you balance this between local and global, and deliver and transform the business in terms of high value solutions?
So the question is how we balance local and global
Local
demand.
and global, yeah. How do you balance that and the demands of international to transform the business on a global basis? Yeah.
Well, anything that this capability does is transformative by nature, because there's so many in companies across industries, whether it's financial services, where I've spent many years, or unified communications, where I also worked, or now apparel retail, where I happen to be at the moment. There are so many ingrained processes that need to be automated, that can be, and anything that can be digitized can be automated, and anything that is digitized becomes data, and anything that is data can further be used to create smarter business models and smarter operations and smarter people as well. But how we balance the local and international demands of companies is, again, we look at the overall priorities and strategic vision of the company. And a company, a global company, usually has a global vision. There's a reason that it operates as a global entity, but of course it may have to balance certain nuances locally, given local customers, local culture, local regulation. That is, of course, important to balance. So it's nothing different here. We want to make sure that we benefit from the best about being a global company in terms of the access that it allows, in terms of access to talent, access to consumers, access to tools that may not be possible to access if you are just operating in a single country or single market, for example. So the global scope provides lots of opportunities for effectiveness and scale. But the local nuances are also important because they enrich us. They help us understand what works better in a particular country or culture or market. So it is important that we balance both. How we do that, it depends on the specific product or the specific solution, but we always strive to use the scale of a global capability and company, but be sensitive to the local needs, culture, and opportunities.